Today we're going to talk about the #1 coffee plague in Colombia, which doesn't only exist in Colombia but also in most of the other coffee producing countries in the world. The plague I am talking about, it is known in Spanish as Broca, and in English it is known as the coffee berry borer beetle, which is a lot of words for just one little thing, so we're gonna stick with Broca for this video in order to make it less complicated. The Broca is a teeny tiny insect that measures about 1.5 millimeters and perforates the coffee cherries in order to lay eggs inside the cherries, destroying the coffee cherry and the coffee bean in the process. On top of that, the females can fly, so they can go from cherry to cherry, laying eggs all around the coffee plantation, and they multiply really fast and really easily. Ripe coffee cherries are the ideal place for Broca to reproduce. The females will go to one coffee cherry and perforate through it, and then lay a bunch of eggs. It takes from 20 to 45 days for the Broca to reproduce or to complete a reproductive cycle, and then once they are done, the female will fly to another coffee cherry and do the same thing, and this will repeat over and over again. So it grows really fast, and if not controlled, it will basically destroy the whole coffee farm and leave the coffee farmer with no income, because once they go inside and perforate the coffee cherry, they will destroy it inside, and that coffee bean will no longer be usable. And if this is multiplied for all of the Brocas in the coffee plantation that are perforated inside of coffee beans, the coffee farmer can have a huge loss in production, therefore also a big loss in income. The Broca reproduces better and faster in humid, warmer climate conditions. And it is known that out of 100 Brocas in a coffee plantation, 80 of them will be inside coffee cherries. This means that they cannot be attacked. Even if a coffee farmer were to spray an insecticide on the coffee trees in order to kill the Broca, they will only be attacking those 20 that are outside the coffee beans. But the majority of them, the 80%, will be inside the beans, and nothing will happen to them because they will be protected. So using pesticides is not an option because of that reason. In addition to that, pesticides are really bad for the environment, so it is not good that coffee producers try to attack the Broca, but rather that they try to protect the beans and to avoid the Broca instead of trying to solve the problem once it's already very big. Because at the end of the day, it is really a lose game for the coffee farmer if he tries to kill the Broca instead of trying to prevent the coffee beans to get infested in the first place. It is important to note in this point that there are natural pesticides that can be used to attack the Broca, and these won't be harmful for the environment, all the people. So here are some things that coffee farmers can really do in order to control Broca at their coffee farms. First, during the harvest, pick all of the ripe cherries and also pick all of the cherries that are in the floor. The Broca can get inside those cherries that fall on the floor or the bottom of the trees, and they can survive there for a whole year until the next harvest. So if, let's say, the harvest is finished and the farmer has already picked everything from the tree but doesn't collect the stuff that is on the floor, Broca can multiply on the floor and wait there patiently inside the coffee beans until the next harvest, when they will have more cherries to get in, which is not good. Also, at the end of the harvest, once all of the coffee has been picked, the coffee farmer needs to ensure that all of the cherries on the coffee tree that are ripe or overripe, that are still on the tree, are picked. Not just because the harvest finished, he can say like, okay, those little bits of cherries, I'm just gonna leave there. He cannot do that. He has to pick them all, otherwise he can promote the reproduction of Broca, which will affect him for sure in the future harvest. 2. When picking the coffee cherries, the coffee collectors put their coffee cherries on a bag, and at the end of the day they take these bags to the weighing station or to the processing facility. What they need to do is, when they put the coffee cherries inside the bag, they need to close it really well so that if there is Broca inside those cherries, they don't come out of the bag and go back into the plantation. The third thing that they can do is, once the coffee cherries are in the processing facility, it usually goes inside a tank before it is pulp. So this tank should be covered with a plastic that has oil or glue, so that when the Broca tries to escape, it will get stuck into the plastic and it won't go back to the plantation. The #4 thing that coffee farmers can do is make traps around the coffee plantation, where they put containers with water and a liquid that will attract the Broca, and they will go and fly inside the liquid and then get killed. Coffee farmers should also be renovating their lots at the right time to ensure that any broca that is on those lots is removed. And when they renovate, they need to make sure that nothing is left on that lot that can attract the broca. Also, if a farmer knows that there is a particular lot in a farm that is more infested than another one, they should try and collect all of the coffee from that lot first before they go into the other lots, because that way they will collect also most of the broca and they will be able to get rid of big part of that pest. There is also a particular wasp that affects this little insect, the broca, and it kills it. So another thing that coffee farmers can do, at least in our country, is take a bunch of these wasps and free them into the plantation, hoping for them to kill the broca. But this should be done at the end of the harvest, because at the end of the harvest, you know, the broca that is left over on the floor or flying around can be killed. And also, I don't think you want all of those wasps flying around when the coffee pickers are picking coffee. They're probably a little dangerous for humans. So unfortunately, this is not a plague that can be 100% eradicated from the country. At least I don't think so. But it is very possible for the coffee farmers to control it so that they ensure that they have really high quality coffees. It is important that coffee producers are detail oriented and observant to determine when their coffee plantation might have broca, and to know the percentage of broca that their coffee plantation might have. It is possible to have 0% of broca on a coffee plantation. As I said before, the plantations that are in higher elevations, higher altitudes, have a little more of an advantage because the broca doesn't survive as well in very cold environments. But that said, these coffee farmers are not 100% exempt of risk, so it is important that coffee producers are looking out for these defects all the time. In our case, we're always vigilant at our coffee farms and with our coffee partners to make sure that the amounts of broca are very well controlled, and that if there is broca in one of the farms, this is controlled right away to avoid contamination to other farms or to avoid that farmer from losing coffee. The broca is a real problem for a coffee farmer because all of the infected beans are money that the coffee farmer is losing, and also for the coffee picker because coffee pickers get paid by weight. So if a coffee picker picks a bag of coffee and it's all full of coffee beans that are infested with broca, it won't weigh much because these beans won't have as much density as beans that are totally healthy. So that coffee picker won't get paid as much as if he was picking coffee that is very healthy. And it is the job of the coffee picker to help the coffee farmer eradicate this type of disease and this pest, because it's the coffee picker the one that needs to ensure that all of the coffee beans that fall on the floor when he's picking coffee or she's picking coffee are picked from the floor and removed from the soil so that they are not promoting the reproduction of the broca. And well, thank you for watching this video. I hope that you learned something new. If you did, please leave a comment below, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below as well, or send me an email to the email address below. My name is 𝘊𝘰𝘧𝘦𝘦 and I'm a coffee producer and importer from Colombia, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!